I'm streaming, Tim is streaming, you're streaming, this is happening. And we're actually going to take a little bit of time to let people jump in, kind of ease into this a little bit. There is comment section if you want to ask a question. This is the Fidelis Creative Agency live stream. It happens every Thursday at 1 o'clock. And, if you were thinking to yourself, my gosh, these two guys look a lot like each other, there's a reason for that. So I'm Mark, and I run creative here at the agency, and Tim handles marketing and specifically business development. So he has, you have a variety of kinds of conversations that I don't have. By the time I'm involved in a client relationship, we have a pretty good understanding of what it is that we actually need to go hunt down, right?
Yeah, I talk to a lot of business owners. I talk primarily to the C-suite. Sometimes I talk to marketing directors and marketing managers. But typically by the time somebody's reaching out to me, it's usually the CEO. CFOs also reach out to me a lot because they wonder what they should be spending on their marketing spend.
Yeah.
And it's like you would be surprised. You'd be surprised by how driven CEOs are, and will go around their whole team to find answers. That happens a lot.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say mostly what you do all day is talk and ask questions. Right?
Yeah. I'm pretty good at asking a good question.
Yeah, for sure. Way better than me.
Huh.
So you're having conversations basically 9 to 5. People are frustrated. People have big dreams, visions. They know marketing is a part of that. They're not entirely sure what they need to be asking. They're frustrated at times because they spend quite a bit, or they have a pretty healthy allocated budget, but they don't know necessarily whether that's performing well or not. What are the expectations? So all of that to say that I like to call these kinds of sessions executives say what they mean and what they should know. So I always think about it in those 3 categories.
We need a jingle. We need no? Okay.
Well, let me put it this way. I'm open to a jingle, but I don't know where one acquires a jingle. Nobody between you and me can do a jingle. But so what is it that you hear? And we're going to just take one of these each time we do this, and we're going to do this the 3rd week of each month.
Okay.
So
cool.
What is it that you hear from executives? So what do they say? Then what do they mean? Mm-hmm. And what should they know? So what is it that you kind of help them process through?
So they say a whole lot of stuff, right? And so, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm responsible for bringing to you, these are the things that I heard some executives say.
Yes, that's right.
All right. So there's some, and I'm going to probably start with some very common ones first. Great. All right. And as I get more familiar with this format, I'm going to be bringing more specific, unusual ones. All right.
Okay.
So
So this is a softball. This is
a
one
little softball.
This is one that you hear frequently.
Yes.
Okay.
Almost every time, I would say.
Okay. So what do they say? Give me a quote.
All right. I'll give you a scenario first. So, whether it's a startup, a solopreneur, somebody, and so this is kind of where I think your audience might be, is I'm trying my hand at business, or all the way up to like oil companies, or all the way up to definitely inside the C-suite.
Big enterprise.
The biggest enterprises, all the way to I'm a photographer, and you're saying some things that I'm not familiar with. This is the thing that they'll say.
Okay, good. I'm ready. Go.
They'll say, you present to them your strategy, you present to them your plan, your product, your service, whatever it is, and they'll say, I love it, it's fantastic. We haven't budgeted for this.
Okay. We haven't budgeted for this.
We haven't budgeted for this.
All right. Now, that's what they say.
Uh-huh. What they mean.
Yes.
What they're really asking you in those moments is they want you to jump through hoops to get them where they are supposed to get themselves. They're essentially asking a couple of things.
So this is what they mean.
This is what they mean. Will you do my homework for me?
Okay.
All right. So when they say it's not in the budget, what they're really saying is either I don't want to pay for this and I want you to convince me, or they're saying I see the value, I want the value, but I've got to do work to be able to afford this. All right.
Okay.
The kind of work they might do is things like reset their annual budgets or their quarterly budgets. They'll have to position themselves some such way.
So that means that, and you said that there's one of two things that they're actually meaning. Do you have an idea of what that split is? Is it 50-50? I don't want to pay for this and I need you to convince me, or I see it, I want it, I need time to be able to actually square a budget.
Right. If they truly don't want to pay for it, they won't even get that far. If they
Okay.
truly don't see the value in it and they don't want it, they'll just say, this isn't a fit, we're not interested.
Okay.
That clutch word, we're not interested.
Okay.
If they actually do see the value and they actually want you to keep working, keep talking as a salesperson, you're like, you got to keep closing, right?
Right.
What they're really saying is you have some more work to do.
Okay.
All right.
Keep talking.
Keep talking, right? So,
And is it also fair to say that in the second category, I see it, I want it, I need time, I'm going to have to go to the budget or a team or approval or whatever, that really what they're doing is saying, can you arm me with better understanding to go and expedite this?
It's like it's inside the first couple of steps of negotiation. They're already moving into negotiating with you. So,
Okay.
so
The third is what should they know?
Yeah, what should they know? Right.
Okay.
So, if sorry, our producer just texted me something here. Oh, there you go, Josh. If somebody is going in and says, it's not in our budget yet, I got to do some things. Here's what they're really saying is they want you to do more work. And so what the executive should know is that some of that homework is theirs to do. And it's the salesperson's job to create a sense of urgency in the moment, to say, you have a problem, you have a need. We can solve this really quickly, and your problem could be over really quickly. Or don't hire us and we have to go away, and your problem remains unsolved. But the executive or the salesperson, those are the two people that are usually in this equation. The executive needs to know that really you're making an ask of the salesperson right then. Will you do my homework for me? Will you actually come down off your price so that it's a slam dunk for me and I can take it back to my team? It's a big win. Or can you do the homework and really I need you to show me a lot more value or express to me a lot more value so that I can pretty easily communicate this to my team. And the salesperson or the, if it's, let's say it's a photographer, has to know how to take their same value and re-message it to hit different things that executive needs. Okay.
You mean you're reworking this on the fly?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's this great book called the Snowball Method, and it's by a guy who is in business development, and it's a book about business development. And he says that you need to, I can't remember the guy's name.
Is it Mo something?
Yeah. Burnell, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
It's a good book. But he talks about how you have 4 quadrants of communication. You have an analytical mind, you have an emotional mind, you have a process-oriented mind, and you have somebody who just wants stories. Stories will cover all of them, and you can kind of frame all of it. But if you start telling stories and connect the dots for them, they're a lot more likely to have an understanding of what you're positioning. So an executive who says, it's not in our budget yet.
Mm-hmm.
What they're really saying is there's a time either I have to wait on this thing that I really want, or you can come down in the price, which you don't want to do, or can you hit me with something else that'll make more sense? Can you hit me in a way that I can't deny what it's about?
So is your underlying assumption then that we haven't budgeted for this? That's not a no, that's not a yes, that's a keep talking, but it's also different than no, or that's too expensive. We haven't budgeted for this is not that's too expensive.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, that's too expensive is a completely different type of sentence.
Okay.
That's too expensive. Maybe that's a good one for another one of these streams.
Yeah, I'm going to make a note of that.
But that's too expensive can mean a variety of different things.
Okay, let's not even get into that. I'm
All
putting
right.
it down for later.
Teasers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's too expensive. Okay, so I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like I've heard you say we have no money allocated for marketing.
Yeah.
We have zero budget allocated for marketing. So sometimes clients go, well, I'm coming to you because I hear you're good at the marketing. I hear that, you know, you make a significant ROI for every marketing dollar, whatever. But are they often shocked at what they should be spending? What they should be allocating?
Yeah, so I speak from a marketing kind of standpoint, but it could be true that our audience isn't marketers. They might be media creators or writers, or they might be bookkeepers or CFOs or fractional CFOs or something like that. What I'm talking about, while I'll speak from a marketing standpoint, is actually true no matter what you're selling. So in the case where they say, I see what you have, but we don't have a budget for it, the easiest way to talk about this is maybe in a startup world. Or we have a client who's having to completely reconfigure all of their business model, right? And they know we need marketing. That is a major function of business, is to go out and find customers, right? When they say we have no budget for this, what they're really saying is we have to find a way to get budget for this. Mm-hmm. Either you come down and it makes it a lot easier on me, or help me figure out how to get there. And so this is what I mean by they're kind of asking you to do a little bit of their homework. Mm-hmm. They're asking you to you actually can make an advancement and say, would you like me to look at your annual budgets? I can actually help you find out where you're spending money and how this should make sense. Now, for me and my product, it's fantastic because it's a very short road until I'm producing a return on investment. Now, for a photographer, for instance, they also are creating a return on investment, but most photographers, or some photographers, until they get into the deep side of business, don't really know the value that they produce. So often, especially in the photography community, one of the big messages you'll hear towards photographers is know your numbers. Know what your value is based on, this is what it costs me, this is what it produces. But the number side for your client is, what is it, what are the views, and what is the value of a view?
But this is true for all creative.
All creative, but it's also true for like the not creative sides of industry. So the value of a bookkeeper, they're saving, not just saving money for their client, they're actually creating revenue. You're freeing up time, which actually frees up creation time for whatever the company is doing. Or I've also heard it said that a really good lawyer actually is creating money. Like they're one of your team that should be producing an ROI.
Okay.
So I know that was kind of a complicated answer.
Yeah, that kind of veered a little bit.
That also happens.
Yes, I know that. Okay, so we haven't budgeted for this. you're helping them establish what an appropriate budget is. You're not saying to them, look, I cost this. You actually come alongside, sit on their side of the table and say, let's figure out what you actually are trying to go after, right? So what is it you're trying to accomplish? And then from a budget standpoint, what can be done to get you moving?
Right.
The idea, and I know this because I've seen you operate with clients, is, look, can we get something moving and then get a baseline? You're going to be able to. I'm using actual marketing terms, and I'm totally spitballing here.
Yeah, you're doing
We're going to get a baseline. I know that that's a thing that you care about, and then we're constantly improving it. The A/B testing, we're getting it tighter and tighter and tighter. Better yield on the established budget.
Yeah.
And the idea being that in 6 months and then in 2 years, you're actually growing with a client.
Yeah.
And helping them actually hit new goals.
Yeah. To make your segment really tight here, Mark.
Yes. Thank you.
What they say, I'm pulling this from. Yeah. I'm pulling this from a conversation even I had just like Monday, or I don't even know what today is. Thursday, so Monday. We're a new company. We have no budget for this, but we see the value. We want it. All right. So the first thing, what they mean is, this is not a no.
Right.
Keep talking,
Help me.
please.
Yes.
Help me get there. Help me do my homework, or at least understand what you understand. They might on the face of it be asking for a smaller number, but really it's not even that. They're not really, it's kind of the step in a negotiation, but it's not really a negotiation. What they're trying to figure out is, how do I make this work for me? And so it's your job, what they mean, or what they say, what they mean, what they should know, what you should know is how to do their homework in a way that's fast, efficient, and can communicate to that person you're trying to sell to.
Okay. With the idea that I want to see you succeed so that we have an equitable relationship going forward.
Yeah. So this customer I talked to on Monday, it was actually one of the C-suite. So this executive that I was talking to on Monday, where we landed was, okay, you know what your healthy company should be doing. It should be doing everything that we just enumerated. And you can't afford it yet just because of straight up cash. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to lower the expectations, and we're going to choose to see provability. We're going to do a little bit just to make sure that it works and that I'm honorable, that I'm not going to screw you, and you shouldn't be worried and be scared, and we're going to be part of your team. Yes.
Okay. That leads to not next month, because that's too expensive. The month after that, we're going to talk about this idea of trust in a marketplace where marketers have a really kind of skeezy, it's you're actually having to deal with deprogramming people because marketers make wild claims. They walk in with a lot of swagger. They're always constantly making wild remarks about what we're going to do and 35% ROI, and they're just making these wild things. And so you're having to establish voice and credibility early.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
There's bad players in every industry. I mean, some of the most honorable and value forward people I've ever met have been lawyers, but the reputation in the lawyer industry is, it's the butt of so many jokes.
Really? Legal services? There's a lot of law jokes? Okay.
Yeah. A lawyer, a priest, somebody else walks into a bar. Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. Any other thoughts?
I like what you're doing here. This is pretty good.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, JT told me I needed to do this. So, all right. So that was what do executives say? What do they mean? And then what should they know? We already have a list of a few other things that we're going to tackle in the weeks ahead. And thank you for tuning in to the live stream.
Who's out there?
Tyler in Miami. He's 14, probably.
What's up, Tyler?
Yep. He's doing great. Doing great.
So I'm gonna be doing some of these with you.
Yeah, the third
Yeah.
week of each month.
If these should be living on YouTube and on Facebook.
Right.
If people wanted to put questions or ideas for me down in that comment section, that would be nice.
Yeah,
I
all
mean,
the better.
now I'm asking you to do my homework. Yeah.
It's great. If you can find a McFly to do your homework,
Come on, McFly.
do it. All right, everybody take care.